Hello and welcome to Matt Loves Eurovision. As always, please do click the subscribe button, ring that notification bell and like, share and comment below. It's been a while since I did my last video, but there's been quite a few things happening in the world of Eurovision, so I thought I'd do a kind of mini sort of autumn update, mainly concentrating on the choice of host city and also kind of the announcement of which countries will be actually at Eurovision this year. So I'm sure it probably won't be news to anybody because I'm sure you already know, but Liverpool have been selected as the host city of Eurovision 2023 on behalf of Ukraine. I haven't done a video since we got the list down to 7. Of course, my own city, Newcastle, was one of the 7, but didn't make it through to the final 2. I didn't do a video around the time the final 2 were chosen. I thought I'd wait till the actual sort of selection, and so it was between Liverpool and Glasgow. I think a lot of people had Glasgow as the favourite. And I think people thought it might have been Glasgow or Manchester, but I have to say I wasn't sure it would go to either of those. I thought it would come from one of the others, although I wasn't sure. I hadn't been sure it would be but Liverpool, but it perhaps wasn't as big a surprise as it was perhaps for some people when it did happen. I was very fortunate enough the weekend it was announced, or the day it was announced, I was up or was down in Cardiff for the UK's fan club annual Eurobash, and there was quite a gathering of us in a bar in Cardiff where they put the one show up so we could get to see who the result was sort of live, which was all very exciting, and there was quite an ooh when it was Liverpool that was announced. But I'm really delighted for Liverpool. It's a great city, it's a great party city, it's a great music city, and to be honest, I think any of the 7 would have done a great job at hosting. I'm sure Glasgow would have done as well, and I'm sure we'll get another chance. I think, although some people were quite surprised perhaps that Liverpool was chosen over Glasgow, I think Liverpool's bid was a really effective one. I think they really kind of focused on the fact that they were doing this on behalf of Ukraine and focused on links with Ukraine, particularly Odessa, who they're twinned with. Whereas I think Glasgow was a bit more about, look what a wonderful place we will do, what a wonderful party city will be. Which I'm sure they would be. But I think maybe that clinched it for Liverpool. Also, just to be perfectly honest, Glasgow's had Commonwealth Games, it's had really lots of big events, as has Manchester, as has Birmingham, and so it's just nice to see the next sort of set of cities like Liverpool, Leeds, Newcastle, etc. to get something as big as this. And of course, Liverpool, huge music tradition. It's a great rejuvenated city, really nice down in the area where the stadium is, and I think it will be absolutely fantastic. And obviously Sonia will probably be popping up all over the place. Obviously she came a very good second back in 1993 with Devil You Know, which is one of my favourite UK songs, better than Devil You Know. So yes, all off to Liverpool. Of course, the usual flurry of people went to try and book hotel rooms and it all went crazy. I always think the best thing is to do, not that I've got a huge amount of experience of booking hotels in Eurovision City, but generally the advice is to kind of wait till you get to see if you have tickets. Also wait to see a lot of cancellations, because a lot of the hotels get booked up in advance for the delegations, and of course the rooms will get released a bit later on. So yes, calm down everybody about because of course just going online to all of the to the sites just whacks up the thing. So yes, I still don't know whether I'll be going or not, even if we don't get tickets, or if we don't get tickets, but kind of thinking about that at the moment, but who knows, we'll have to wait and see. And who knows when the tickets will be available as well. I imagine probably the next couple of months, I would have thought, with a ticket provider, but we'll wait to hear for news of that when it happens. And so the other thing I wanted to sort of talk about briefly was the withdrawals, or the entry list. So I think we were anticipating some withdrawals, no returns, sadly, although again, not particularly unexpected. I don't think anyone seriously was expecting countries like Turkey or Luxembourg or Andorra to return just yet. And no debut from Kazakhstan as yet, although I'm not even sure. They're still not a proper EBU member. So although they go to Junior Eurovision, but I think we'll have to wait for that as well. So sadly, we're losing Montenegro, Bulgaria, and North Macedonia. Now, and so we have a list of 37 countries rather than 40 from last year. To be honest, none of those particularly surprise me. Montenegro has been in and out a couple of times due to budgetary constraints. I think they dropped out the year. Well, they would have been in. I think they would have dropped out if it comes to 2020. So yes, they would have dropped out if we had the contest in 2020. Because budgetary things, budgetary matters, and there's with high inflation, high energy prices, all that kind of stuff at the moment. There's a real squeeze across the world, and that obviously affects broadcasters as well. So they decided to sit it out. Also, Montenegro, one of the countries that got caught out in the that jury votes scandal as well. I don't think that influenced it. I think it probably is budgetary on that side. We have North Macedonia have also withdrawn again. I think probably budgetary is connected with it. They had a bit of a hoo-ha in the delegation last year when their artist kind of, when she was on the red carpet, kind of threw a flag to. She was having a photo taken, and then there was this ridiculous hoo-ha back in North Macedonia about this, and they were saying, we're going to pull her out and stuff, and all kind of nonsense. And so again, you kind of got a feeling, it's like, will they be back next year? Again, I don't think they've said that as being the reason, but again, it's more budgetary. So I imagine we'll have North Macedonia back in a couple of years or so, or a year or two, hopefully, when things perhaps are in a slightly better state. And Bulgaria. So Bulgaria have had a lot of, have had some really strong results recently and really put a lot of effort in. They didn't last year. There was a change in the broadcaster, and suddenly, again, you got the sense last year something was afoot, and so not surprisingly, it doesn't feel that surprising that Bulgaria have withdrawn. I think obviously some of the personnel have changed in the broadcaster. They seem to have said that they're not likely to come back in the near future at the moment, which sometimes happens. Sometimes a broadcaster's head of programming or head of content or whatever, or the main person changes, and they don't view Eurovision as being where they want the channel to be. And things change, which I think is a real shame, because Bulgaria brought in some really good results recently, really quality entries, had a really good try, aside from last year. We'll see. Hopefully they'll be back before too long, if they have a change of heart as well. So I know a lot of people on Twitter are sort of going on, this is going to be a diminished contest and stuff, which is probably why I try not to look on Twitter on the fandom, on the Eurovision Twitter too much for these things, because people get far too excited about it. Or I don't think it's going to. Greatest respect to those countries, and obviously it is sad to miss them. But overall, the spectacle and the event is still going to be great. And to be honest, most people will watch the Eurovision on the grand final, and there will still be 26 countries. Presumably 26, maybe 27, it's probably 26 countries in the grand final, so it doesn't really affect things that much. So it's still, if we'd gone down to 30 countries, it would probably impact on semi-finals, but we weren't any sort of close to that as well. So I hope it's not a start of a trend, but this seems to be a particularly tough year from just general costs. So I'm kind of hoping that things will bounce back before too long. But in good news, we are keeping the Czech Republic. There was a lot of concern from the fandom about that, and I was aware with them, because they had moved broadcasting the show onto the sort of lesser channel, not their main channel, and consequently got quite low viewing figures. But mercifully, they are still coming, which is good, because I really like that. I've really loved a lot of the Czech entries, and the Czech artists have they've been fantastic. So I'm glad to see them. And a relief, I think, to see Armenia. Obviously, things have been going on in their part of the world and they're hosting Junior Eurovision in December as well in Yerevan. So, and of course, Rosalind's had a huge success since Eurovision, going viral on TikTok and becoming one of the most streamed Eurovision songs of all time. I think, or certainly up there. So, so yes, good to see that Armenia will be there as well. As for what I'm doing, well, what I haven't done is no, I haven't done any of these reaction videos that I was planning to do, just with one thing and another. Obviously, I'm reliant on other half to help me with some of these things. I still intend to do those. I'm wondering whether I might just look at some of the ones that of the countries that are not participating 2023, because then they won't go out of date so quickly. So I might do those before that, because then we get into the pre-season, and I'm probably not gonna want to do too many of the reaction videos around that point. And I need to update my website, just mattloveseurovision.com, getting it ready for the kind of new season, getting a calendar up, and there's already lots of announcements of dates of the national selections, just general news about national selections, and also some of the artists that might be at those as well. So, and we've already had announcement of a couple of countries have announced who their artist will be as well. I think Cyprus was the most recent one, I think, off the top of my head. I'm probably now worried that I've got that wrong, but I think Cyprus announced theirs quite recently. So yeah, quite a lot going on. So I will try and get onto updating my website soon. So please do keep on checking my website, and I will hopefully pop up with videos as and when in the next few weeks before we kick into the real kind of meat of the pre-season, all the national sections. But good to see you again, and take care.